Okay, here we go. I'm not watching the stream. I should probably be watching it on a different phone. Give me a sec.
I believe we are live, Ray.
All
Welcome,
right.
everybody, to our fourth live stream session with SPOCRA.
Hello,
Ron and
everybody.
Ray, your hosts. How are
As
you
we
doing today, Ray?
enter,
Were you able to finish up your breakfast?
I'm still. I'm just going. I'm opening up the stream on my phone so I can see comments because I'm working off a laptop. I'm traveling right now. I don't have all my screens. So I am just opening up. Here we go. We are live.
Hey, Ray, do we want to pull up an agenda really quick first?
Just
So, or
yeah, let's
let
do
me
it.
pull that up.
We
All right, let
have
me pull
we
it up
have
quickly.
someone's watching. Hello, whoever's watching. It might just be me coming off of my phone. um,
All right, are we
nice. There
seeing
we
are we
go.
seeing
That's
my
better.
screen right here?
I can see it.
All right. So this isn't very sexy or anything.
Here we go.
I
We
just
are
literally did a mind dump
live.
about a couple minutes
Hey Ray, do we want
before
to
this.
do
Oh, I'm getting some feedback,
a
right?
quick first? Yeah, that's let's do it. That's me. We have someone's watching.
Ray,
Wow.
Ray,
There
there's
we
someone
go.
watching
Got
you.
it.
There we
That's
go.
me.
We're
I'm coming off
amateurs.
my phone.
We're amateurs at this stuff. We're just trying to get some information out to everybody. So, what we wanted to talk about today was the changing landscape that is coming, and we're talking about in the Cardano ecosystem, and also, in the blockchain space in general. I think so. Just specifically, what I have here is notes about the Cardano ecosystem that we're going to touch on, and then I'm sure, as Ray and I usually do, our conversations kind of go off on tangents, which I enjoy myself. But what should we be doing as we're approaching this shift? Is what we're going to be talking about: the pledge curve factor, when what to do with more venture capitalists and enterprise level operations coming in. Um, when K equals 10,000, is that still on the table? If it is, what does this look like? We also want to talk about the opportunities because there's changing things happening. Certain ways of operation are probably going to be diminished, but then there's going to be new opportunities, right? So we're going to talk about SPAS, ISPO, and this is just, like I said, this is not comprehensive. This is just round mind dumping. So we're going to touch on more than this, I'm sure. So opportunities, the speed bumps, hurdles that are coming, and then we just want to finish with our mission. What are we actually here for? So I think this is going to be a good talk. So with that being said, I'm going to remove this ugly PowerPoint and we're going to start talking. Let me stop the share. All right.
Nice. That's a powerful agenda, man. There's a lot of ground. I have some good responses for the first three.
Okay.
If you want to speak to that a little bit. I'm just going to kind of talk a little bit about what I'm doing and how I'm responding to the upcoming changes in pledge curve factor. So what I did, as you know, right, we see a lot of pool operators, especially when they first start out. One of the tactics for getting more stake to the pool in their marketing campaign is to get their ranking up in tools like Ada Pools and Pool Tools and the Devilish Wallet and the different ranking tools we have in this community. And they do that by lowering their fees. Okay. A lot of them will start at 4%, 1%, whatever it is, right? To try and get delegators to come over and get attracted to what they're doing. And then I've seen the pools over time. Obviously, that's not a sustainable business model for the stake pool operator, right? 348 every 5 days as the minimum fee right now is not enough to run your pool. So you need something else on top of that. So how do you be a sustainable business, right? What is our business? Our business is a contribution of infrastructure to the blockchain. Without stake pool operators and their infrastructure contributions, there is no blockchain. So they have to learn how to pay themselves well, right? This isn't really in the long run a hobby. In my view and my experience, it is a business. And I'm seeing that the stake pool operators who treat it as a business are the ones who are the most successful, okay? Because there's marketing to it, and there's, you know, bookkeeping and everything you have to do to keep the contribution of infrastructure functioning day to day, month to month. So what Whirlpool did is it started out low, and it slowly made its way up to where it is now, which is 4%. 4%, if you look at the highest ranking pools, is on the high side. So you're not going to see Whirlpool way up high in the ranks, right? You're going to see him down around 250 right now. I was in the top 100 when I was down at 1.5%. Okay, so if I want to be in the top 100 and be more visible, my fee needs to be less, or I need to be doing something different with my marketing. So what I did is I had a conversation with my delegation community. I said, hey guys, you know, this pledge factor curve is coming up, and there's a sweet spot, and we're all kind of like theorizing what the sweet spot is going to be. And so we're like, you know, we don't know if it's going to be 50,000, 100,000, 250,000, et cetera, et cetera. So it's funny to watch you disappear. The camera followed you.
I wanted to space.
It was interesting. It was like, wow, you got a lot of space behind you. So, you know, what I had to do is go, okay, guys. So I talked to my delegator community, and I said, what is it okay if I raise my fees up to 4%? How do you guys feel about this? And this is what I plan on doing. This percentage of that change is going to go to more donations for our charity. This percentage of that change, 33% of the change from 2% to 4%, is actually going to building my pledge. So every 5 days, I take 33% of that difference between 2 and 4%, and I put it towards increasing my pledge. I've already increased my pledge 5K since I did this. Okay. Nice. And what I'm doing is I'm thinking I want to be in the sweet spot. I want to be in that place where delegators are rewarded well for their stake and their mining power to my pool, so that I can continue my mission for my charity and for saving the kids. Right? That's my own thing. So
can I ask you really quick? Mm-hmm. How did you approach your delegators to find out what they thought about the 4%? Was this just like a post in your Telegram channel, or did you do a vote, or how did you go about this, just to try to weigh the opinions?
That's what I did. I had a vote survey in my Telegram channel, and I also had a survey on Twitter, where I'm probing and poking at the community to try to get consensus around what people feel about this, and how people feel about that kind of a change. The other thing that I did, and which is really helpful, is I did some calculations. I said, when the fee goes up, if you have this size wallet, what impact will it have to your awards, right? Because there's a lot of misconception about these fees. A lot of people think, oh, if it's at 4%, I'm only getting 1%. There's actually delegators out there that think that that a 4% pool is going to leave them with 1% rewards, okay? And which is not true at all. We have to show them mathematically what a difference is on 100K. How many ADA are we talking about here? So once I did that, that helped people see, oh, okay, this isn't that big of an impact. And the difference is going towards making sure that the mission of the pool, which there's quite a bit of loyalty to, right? So what I noticed is when I made that change, I saw probably about, out of the 29 mil that I had staked to the pool at the time, 3.2 of that was the IOG delegation. So they came
Okay.
out, right? So now I came down to 26 mil, and now I'm down at 22 mil. So I lost 4 million to two things, mostly to people going to other pools with lower fees.
Okay. Yeah,
The
that makes
second
sense.
thing that I saw, right, they're just like, hey, I got to maximize my ADA here. The second thing I saw was some meld bleed off. I didn't lose a lot to meld. I lost maybe 150, 200K. Not a lot, not as much as some other pools did. Some of the bigger pools lost a lot more than that. And I think
So
that has
that
to
tells
do
you
with the
something about
loyalty.
your delegation base. Like just like I mean that's kind of like you're analyzing kind of the behavior like that you have with your clientele. I mean, it's like I was going to use a word. I don't know if this is a real like marketing word or not, but I was going to say like the stickiness factor, like how sticky your delegators are to your pool.
But
Like I mean, just
how
their
loyal?
loyalty, their loyalty.
Yeah, it's loyalty. And I think it's one of the advantages of a mission-driven pool like this. I've had this conversation with other stake pool operators in the ecosystem about it who are not mission-driven, and their reflection to me is that it does help, right? Because what the loyalty is to is not only me and how I drive the pool and how I've never missed an assigned block and all that. That's all cool, but that's very competitive. So what else am I bringing to the table to such a loyalty? So how I respond to my delegators, my connection to them, customer service, and what I'm doing with these fees and profits that I'm making with the pool. Does it matter to them enough to compromise the other potential gains that they might have in other places with other pools, like Meld, for example, right?
So really
So
quick,
going back to the pledge.
yes, that's exactly what I was just going to point to. You were just going to talk about pledge. I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
So it sounds like from what you were describing, your strategy is you want to increase your pledge because you want to be part of that. Or so, just describe to me where you see pledge curve factor going and what your strategy is. I mean, it kind of sounds like I know what you're doing, but I want to hear it. After you're done
No,
eating your noodles.
heard so many different freaking opinions on this. And
have you been running any numbers or you just yeah, what's your strategy?
I do have a calculator that I plug numbers into. I changed the plug factor and I see the impact it has on the reward system. And it's pretty dramatic when it starts going up. So I think the sweet spot is going to be somewhere between 100 and 250K. That's where I think the sweet spot is going to be.
That's a good guesstimate.
And so that's just a guesstimate, man, and it's a hard one because, Cardano, when it first came to us.
What does that do to other parts of the world though, that aren't like the Western
that's
world?
The problem. That when Cardano is being promoted as anybody can do this from any part of the world, we need that for decentralization. We need participation in nodes, contribution of infrastructure from whatever stratas of the societies of the world we could get on, because this isn't just an enterprise blockchain, right? This is a new social and financial operating system for all levels of society and all classes of people. So if we want that kind of participation, we can't have such a high barrier to entry, right, at the stake pool level. The other argument against that would be, well, pledge is having a high pledge is the advantage of the first movers in the community, right? If you've been here a long time, you got in early, or you're in the ITN and you made some ADA over there, you're going to come in with a nice sized pledge and you're going to help establish the infrastructure of the blockchain, first generation of the community. That's one argument. One argument is that the first generation of the community already has the pledge that they need to be in the sweet spot, right? So then you have new generations that come in on top of that don't come in as stake pool operators if the barrier to entry is that high. they come in and make ADA in different ways. So I think it's really important for anyone who's considering the state cooperation business to look at this really as a business. And meaning, what's my startup capital? What's my budget? How long am I going to be in the red? When can I expect to make profit? What's reasonable? And so what I did is I said, in what way, small little way that it is, can I move my pledge into a higher position to put myself in a potentially better position, right? And so that was my response. And that's what I came up with my delegators. I said 30 is going to go to the increasing. And that's exactly what I've been doing. Almost every 5 days, the pledge goes up. So that's what I think is up with the pledge curve factor. Let me know if my internet looks like smooth thing.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah.
But we caught the rest of what you were saying, and I think that is a great strategy, especially how you included your delegation community into that, sharing like that. Like, here's how we're gonna increase the our fee, and this is what it's going to be contributed towards, and this is why, and everyone that's like for your mission, obviously they're still staking to you, and that's really encouraging to see that your amount of lost stake was very minimal, like to some of those like bigger like VC type of projects like Meld. So that means that your delegation base isn't just going after like the next big hype thing. Like they're staked to a mission driven pool because they care about the mission. It's that simple. So what I'd like to talk about now, if we can shift, I just want to touch really quick on what we think, or do we think K of 10,000 is possible? When would this happen? Like, does this, or what does this look like? And then we're going to move on to the next topic, which is opportunities.
Yeah. I want to touch a little bit on that more VC and enterprise level operation real quick, before we go to K equals 10,000. Yeah. Okay, so this is where SPOCRA comes in to play as well, right? What our group is doing to maintain the integrity and equilibrium of the blockchain. How can we help VC and enterprise level operations? Well, those guys have to hire a stateful operator, right? If they want to be an operation, there are advantages to running a stateful on the blockchain and having these other kinds of services and things that you're doing. Okay. So where SPOCRA can come in is our certification process, our educational process, right? Come into the apprentice program, become an official member. What does that mean? It means you get best practices. That means you get a community around you that supports you in your learning process. So getting VC and enterprise level operations that kind of exposure as they're coming and engaging and trying to dock themselves into the ecosystem, I think is awesome. And that's one of the reasons why I'm excited about what SPOCRA can do for the community. Is we're like a landing pad. We're like a gateway for people who want to come into the community, get to know the community, and get confronted by best practices for the community, right? That's one of the best things that we can do. So
I don't think that we should be fearing enterprise and looking at enterprise as like, oh, that's like they're the bad people. They're going to steal our stake. It's not like, that's not the way we should be looking at it. It's still a competitive landscape, but how do we maintain the equilibrium so that one type of entity doesn't? So like, I don't know. We could probably talk about like some cell like analogies. I mean, you got different parts of the cell where like the mitochondria, they're like the big powerhouse, like the factory is kind of like generating the energy, and then you have like the messenger RNA like moving all around. Like, I'm probably going off somewhere that's probably not going to tie back to this, but I mean, the point is that there's small fish and there's big fish in the sea, and can they coexist? Yes. So sometimes the bigger fish are going to steal the little fish. Like they're going to steal their food or they're going to get eaten, right? That's just, it's a fact of nature. But how do we as SPOCRA, how do we help to maintain this equilibrium? How do we still empower the individuals that they want to get into stake cooperation industry when it looks like, oh, it's we're not going to be able to compete. The enterprise is coming. Exchanges are going to keep like expanding their pool operation. Like, how do we compete in that landscape?
By the way, I kept putting up glass here.
Right. Well, that's education, right? There, we keep looking at what does the optimal functioning of the blockchain look like, right? Desired number of nodes, distribution, geographic distribution, all these cool things. Hey, just welcoming on. I see Andrew. I've been just seeing these faces. Hey guys, welcome in.
Yeah, welcome everybody. So I think we're going to talk about some of the ways that we can be competitive against enterprise level and actually be working partners with the enterprise and some of the opportunities. But do we want to talk about K equals 10,000 or do you think that's too soon? Maybe K equals 1,000 first?
Well, I mean, we can use it as an extreme example. Okay. It really, I think, and this speaks to the whole mission of Cardano. I think that, especially as an SPO, where you're in that critical infrastructure at the ground level, right? It's hard because we're a business, and it was competitive when Shelly came out. Now we have enterprise coming in, and it's even more competitive, right? You got state flooding out to all these cool DeFi opportunities and on these token, ISPOs and stuff. It's like, wow, this is a pretty crazy landscape. So at the end of the day, right, it's all about, I'm watching my internet connection here, and it's just kind of like going up and down.
You know what popped in my head when you said it's hard? That song you were singing earlier when we first came on. It's hard.
Yeah, kids started singing that. Hold on a second. I'm gonna switch for hotspot to see if I get a better connection.
John, we need some drums in the back. Come on, let's go.
We just double up on drums. We just have a full-on drum session. We'll just go.
We'll just go nuts. That'll be awesome.
There we go.
What kit you got back there?
It's an unknown kit. It's labeled Kestrel. Yeah! So yeah, beware the Kestrel. That's all I can say. It's a beast of a kit.
All right. All right, Ray. Do we have Ray back? Is Ray back? Ray, are you there?
All right, Ray's back. I'm here. Am I here?
You've got the smooth internet connection again. All right, Ray. Where were we?
Better. Okay, so looking at this, right? If we are going to be professional about this, we're always going to hold the vision of the project at the highest point. So what that means sometimes is we might not always be aligned in where we are with our business with the highest vision for the project. We might need to get into partnership with some of these newer players and learn how to make ADA in other ways, especially if the pledge factor goes up and the barrier to entry is high. So, it's ultimately about learning how to do yoga here in this ecosystem, right? How do we stay flexible? How do we keep ourselves open to what is the best for this ecosystem to thrive? We always have to keep that in mind, even if we don't find ourselves in the optimal position. We're always thinking, especially with how fast this ecosystem evolves, what do I have to do today to better position myself for this change that's coming? Okay, for the changes that are coming, to make sure that Cardano's vision is accomplished, right? We have 3 billion global citizens to bank, and we have to get them connected. That's a major vision for this project. So all hands on deck. How do we do that? Am I in the right position? Do I have the skill set Do I have the business acumen? Do I have the partnerships that I need to get that job done? Not just what I'm just pulling off for myself, but how I'm going to get that job done. That has got to be kept in the highest order if possible. That's how the community is going to evolve and thrive and do what it's got to do. So, at K equals 10,000, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's, there is a point. I've had this technical discussions with other SPOs about this. There's a critical point at which point the propagation of a block to that many node partners is just really actually a hindrance to the performance of the network. So I think the only way to truly know what the ideal number of desired nodes are or pools are for validation of this network is to simulate it. I think 10,000 where we are now is too much. Because remember, we're making a copy of the database around the world. Every single block has to be copied and propagated. So to have that much chatter and communication going on across 10,000 nodes for every slot, that actually might pull us back. So that's where the side chains are going to come in, and all these other different layers are going to be coming into this blockchain. So that's my kind of like overview, a top level overview of that. I think it's, in terms of decentralization and in terms of like global distribution, you think the more the better. But we just have to remember that we have a consensus algorithm. We have a protocol that's maintaining itself and it's communicating and making copies of and validating all of this information. So in order for it to be able to do that across that many nodes, something might have to change at the protocol level for it to be efficient and be high performing.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I wasn't even thinking of it in that aspect of like, can the network even sustain that level? Mm-hmm. So that target may be something that's like, that could be like 10 years down the road, to be honest. I don't know if we've ever gotten a time from what Charles's vision was with K equals 10,000, but
yeah, I don't know. We're almost at 3,000 in a year. But that's normal for first year. I don't think we're going to see that kind of growth coming out, especially where we have pledge factor changes and we have all these different business models that are developing in the ecosystem now. I think people are going to be turning away from the state cooperation side of the business and over to the layers that are directly on top of us, like the application layers, the DApp, DeFi, start building and developing on that level. That's where the next level and the next round, I think, is. So that's why another reason why SPOCRA I feel is so important is because there's a long-term legacy we're building here to the backbone, to this blockchain, right? We're thinking, how are state cooperators that are necessary for this whole thing to work going to be properly compensated for the next 10 years? Because we know what happens with the monetary expansion factor of the network, right? It pulls on those reserves. Eventually, there are no reserves, and all of the payments are coming from fees. So the expectation is that the activity levels at that point will be so high that they'll be able to sustain the reward mechanism for state cooperators and delegators. But it will be lower. I've seen the charts. It does drop over the next 5 to 10 years, right? So that's the other thing we have to remember is as that drop happens, how are we compensating and keeping ourselves in a position where we can afford to continue to contribute the infrastructure, right? Because I've seen these nodes from when I started over a year ago to now, I've seen the node go from a 2 gigabyte gobbler to now really 12 gigs is what you want to have, plus swap, in order to have a stable node. I've seen what happens when nodes try to run and swap, how many connections they try to make to other nodes. It's a mess. So, I don't know how much higher that's going to go. Goguen is definitely going to present an interesting scaling challenge, right? So all of the cloud providing pools, I think, are going to have a little bit of an easier time keeping up with the scaling challenge and the hybrid pools. Yeah, so everybody out there running bare metal, just have that extra RAM and hardware ready. Because we're going to need to scale as our transaction volume. We're not seeing anything yet in transaction volume. We're going to be seeing per day what we see per week or month now.
Oh yeah.
At some point. So we just got to be ready for that.
I have a question. I'm young. I'm just on testnet. I've got my pool started. Young in the ecosystem. Does your number of peers affect the load on the server? So, is that a factor you can play with as your as the intensity of the interactions on the network go up? You can just monitor and adjust the number of peers you're working with.
Yes, it is a very strong influence. And what you can do to experiment on testnet is a good place to experiment. Just change your number of peers and reboot the node and how much RAM usage it has. You'll see that the nodes with less peers are less intensive on CPU usage. It's a proportional relationship. P2P me is going to be interesting because it's going to have a governor, it's going to have all these other metrics that are handling that.
I think we're losing
my
you
internet
again,
connection again.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a very big factor.
So I wanted to shift onto the topic of what other opportunities I see and like how I envision us moving forward with like a new wave of like the younger people in the ecosystem, like John was talking about. I've already started to see like a funnel of entrepreneurs that don't quite grasp like all the technicals of the blockchain. I mean, they're savvy enough to figure out that Cardano is a good one to build on. So we're attracting some of those individuals, but I see this as just like the beginning of more people that have already been in the business world, building businesses and like attracting capital to get their projects going. So I think there's going to be another level of like skill and talent coming in that is going to, I don't want to say wipe out a lot of what we already have as our like SPO base, but I think it's going to I think it's going to improve and strengthen like the SPO base, because those new people coming in without the technical know-how can actually partner with a lot of the SPOs that are already running pools that they haven't like kind of taken the reins on, like, here's my mission and here's what I want to change in the world. But I've never actually built a business before. This is like my first foray into running a business. So with that being said, I wanted to talk about stake pool operation as a service, and then also ISPOs and token offerings, and then not only just token offerings, but also what other things can be offered to your delegator base. So such as like exclusive membership rights and benefits and other things. Mm-hmm. And I see that we got another face in here. Welcome.
How
you doing, James?
Man, it's been a tough recovery. I'm doing better though. The big deal is the sleep. I just can't I can't get good sleep. And so you wake up and you're like, okay, I got to look at this code. I got to research, and just like, ugh. But I had a pretty good night's sleep. It's starting to get better. It's definitely starting to get better. Yeah, I'm back, guys. I'm back. Let's do this. So I actually got a call yesterday from a recruiter who is looking for people who want to sell their stake pools to investors, but she was only looking for people selling Ethereum stake pools. She had nothing. She wanted nothing to do with Cardano. She was one of those true believers where she believes Cardano is complete ghost chain, not real. There's nothing going on under the hood. And I asked her, I actually had her on the phone for about an hour. And I was like, where's this narrative coming from? And she's just like, she started to go into all of these things. And I was like, okay, there's a lot of negative news. There's a lot of negative information specifically aimed at Cardano to dispel the value and what they're doing and, the validity of the project. And so, what's funny is I must exist in this weird sphere because I don't hear it. I mean, am I missing something? Are you guys aware of like some factual data that
well, I don't know if you've ever been to an Ethereum meetup, but they're very cliquish. Like, it reminds me of like being back in high school when
Oh
you had
no.
like the popular kids that thought they were cool, and like they all
Yeah.
like sat together at their lunch table, and then
The
like
jocks.
when there were other like cool people like musicians and like people like throwing their hacky sack around and like just like cool people like in theater and stuff like that, they would just act like they don't exist or they make
Right.
fun of them. And like I feel like those were the talented people that went off to like be successful in the world, and then those cool people that thought they were so cool they can just ignore like everyone else and like live in their own world and think that those people over there don't exist. Well,
They're gonna
sorry,
figure
but
it- yeah. They're gonna figure it out eventually.
yeah,
We're the nerds.
there's some saltiness coming. I think there's some saltiness coming.
Yeah,
We need
with,
that Breakfast Club
What's
moment.
yeah, you know it. You know it.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so I did get that call. I talked to her for a little while. I didn't entertain the idea of selling my stake pool. I said you could utilize the services, but she was really adamant about any stake pool except a Cardano stake pool. So that's the narrative that's going on between recruiters and us right now. So
Yeah.
I got on the phone. Sorry, real quick, just to update what I've been doing over the week. I got on the phone with a credit union this week. There is a credit union in Las Vegas, a brand new one that just opened, and I'm working on it. This guy, he wants his credit union to work on blockchain. Okay. I called the credit union, and this guy was like, yeah, we're not really sure about it. He's all, but you know what's really funny? John Drew just bought Kirkwood Credit Union in Las Vegas, and he's renaming it GenU, GEN-U. And he knows for a fact he's specifically looking to run this thing on blockchain. So I gave him a call yesterday, and I'm just waiting for him to give me some sort of call back.
So James,
yeah,
you actually popped in right when we were talking about like new opportunities. Like what opportunity can other stake operators be seeking for business ideas? So can you just describe like I think you're giving an update on like a potential business model that other stake operators can use, right?
Yes.
Can you give us a little background on that?
This is what I've been trying to do on the side. You know, I'm technical, but not technical enough. I do have a little bit of a build team. I've got like 3 or 4 guys that can build, but I'm specifically, bless you. Oh, is that the dog? I'm specifically trying to bridge the gap between banks and businesses to start to have an interest to utilize our system. You guys, we built it. It's running. We can custom build to integrate now. So the next step logically in my head is to actually go out and introduce the system and say, this is what we have. And how can we streamline your business? How can we make your business run better with this technology? And so my initial target was to go to CPA offices here in Las Vegas. The first CPA office I went to had a very warm response, only because that particular CPA had never seen so many crypto tax returns that had such huge value. And he's like, I don't know what's going on, but I just did 150 crypto tax returns this year, all small business owners that make $1 million plus a year. And crypto's blowing up. He's like, I'm in. Let's do this. I'm in. And so I'm thinking, you guys, there are going to be these little pressure points in the business community where we need to find who is seeking us. Okay, because right now they don't even know they need us. And that's the problem. We need to go out there and say, hey, look, you're spending this and doing this, and this is taking days, or you're having to consolidate. We could do all this under the umbrella of crypto, and it's instantaneous, and you don't need these third parties of validation anymore. And so my idea was to go to CPAs, because what are CPAs? They're basically big businesses that funnel small businesses into them, because that's what CPAs do. They do tax returns for complicated people, right? We do our, whatever, our simple tax returns, but the businesses, they require CPAs. So I went there, and it's going okay. Like I said, that CPA jumped on board, but he jumped on board right when Cardano tanked back down from 260 to 130. So now he's a friend of mine. And so I've explained where we're at and he gets it. But from his perspective, this is our wall, guys. This is my block right now I'm trying to get through. How does a business owner tell his clients, hey, you should get into this without risking his client's faith and all that if it goes down even further? And so he's like, I want to do this and I believe in it, but who am I going to tell to take this leap? Because what if crypto starts crashing hard again? And now these guys are going to be like, you're crazy. You totally just cost me all this money. So I'm trying to figure this out. This is my loop. If I could get somebody to help me kind of work through that, I'm trying to design this as like a 3 to 5 year plan. Don't look at the daily. Don't look at the monthly. Don't even look at the yearly. Look at what the networks have been doing over the past 7 years. And now realize Cardano's at the beginning stages of this. And so if you follow this through the next 4 to 5 years, what you're going to see is tremendous growth if history rhymes in any way, according to how these networks evolve. And so that's kind of my stance, but it's a tough sell, you guys. It's not easy to get in there with these guys and to say, hey, give me $1 million. And that's literally what I'm doing. I'm walking in with a suit and I'm saying, all right, I need $20 million. So, and this is why. And you guys are going to want to be there because the last credit union I talked to, he said they jump up and down when you can get them 2%. If you can take their money and give them 2%, they're happy. And I was like, 2%? I was like, you guys, I'm riding the top end of 5% here. And I have a year of aggregated data that you could go through and see that this thing is working. So right now I have 2 credit unions. One is actually researching Cardano right now on our behalf. And then one is a new credit union that just opened up that specifically wants to run on blockchain. So I'm getting calls, and so I'm waiting for these people to call me back. But checking the numbers.
There's a couple of good reasons I like this. I like this this idea and this plan that you're working on. One, it's because we're working with the professionals in like the tax collection like business, right? So how do we as stateful operators, how do we kind of shape the coming regulation, right? We know that there's regulation coming, like there's this like ever looming like it's coming, the broad sweep is gonna come wipe us out. It's like, no, hold on a second. They're doing this broad sweep kind of stuff because they don't understand it. But if enough businesses like actual tax professionals can like come together and create like tax codes that work for our business model, why would they say no to that?
They won't.
Why would they put regulation that would wipe that out? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and the truth is they don't want to wipe us out. They want to make money off of us. So
exactly.
They're not going to kill us, but they are going to squeeze us a little bit. And here's the interesting thing. When I was sitting with this CPA, who's been a friend of mine for like 15 years, he was like, I audit for these businesses. So I'll contact the IRS on their behalf and say, I need to know what you have on them so that we can do the taxes. Because the IRS gets a spreadsheet of all the reporting businesses. And then they say, okay, these are the taxes that this individual is liable for. And so he audits, he requests that sheet. And he said, most of the time when it came to crypto, there was nothing being reported, which means technically, if individuals wanted to play that way, right now the IRS isn't being reported to. And I really think that's what the regulation is going to start to do. It's going to start to hone in the proper protocols to get the information to the IRS so people pay their proper taxes. They may even automate it. But right now, it's the wild west.
I'm thinking beyond the IRS, okay?
Yeah.
We have our own treasury system. We don't need the IRS, okay?
True.
Go away.
True.
We're going this way.
That's like the hard nose end of it. And I have a real problem with like just keeping that inside when I speak. I shouldn't go hard. We already know what the big deal is. Now the problem is just showing everybody the pros and cons of both and having them
working with the people, the human beings in the system.
Yes.
We create these systems. We are the value.
Correct.
That is what we need to understand, that us working together, you can't stop that once like we create our own systems, right? Otherwise, if we don't, then we use the systems that control us,
Right.
that manipulate us.
Exactly. And we can't walk in with our hat in our hand and our head down. We have to walk in because the truth of the matter is, and I know it doesn't feel like this, but we are the authority in this arena. We are the experts and we are the masters. We are the first people on the planet to build these stake pools and to run them successfully. There's no other expert. There's no other person that's better than us. So us walking in begging, that's not it. We should be walking in and saying, listen, I have something for you that you need to know about. And I'm telling you, when I sat with this guy for an hour and a half, like I said, he gave me 30 grand that day. And then he was going to average.
So I laughed a little bit when you said, I walked in and I asked for $20 million.
I do.
I got the vision of like GTA, like you walking in, like, I got my suit on. Give me $20 million.
Give me $20 million bucks.
But how did you really, like, I'm serious now. Like, how did you actually approach that? Because, like, what was the reaction when you say something like that? Because I don't think
you'd be shocked. People.
Well, go ahead.
It depends on how you establish the meeting. I mean, obviously, you want to establish it as an investor meeting. You don't want to establish it as some sort of, I'm walking in to, try and sell you something. It's like, listen, I have a product here, and it is generating money. Okay, and people that get on this machine will make money. And so, how do we make the most money as a group? We need investors, and we need about $20 million to really get this thing humming. And there's 150 of you that make over $2 million a year. I need some of you guys to get on board. Who wants to make 5%? Because it should sell itself, because you tell them the key points, then you show them the aggregated data. And there's a lot of things. Good salesmen would be like, no, don't do that. First find their needs or whatever. Everybody needs money. I can just assume that right off the bat. Everybody needs it. And even if you have it, you still want more. I've never met anybody that doesn't have an appetite to accumulate more money if they have a good, fair, simple opportunity. And so that's what we need to do. We need to teach them how these things really work, because that's the biggest misunderstanding they don't get. Because every time I explain this, they say, now what's the catch? Where are you making more money than me? Or where are you shivving me? Because the system in the past always had a catch. That's why we have that phrase, what's the catch? Because it can't be that good, right? Cardano is that good. I don't make more money as a stake pool operator when you delegate. You know what I make? I make stability. I get the stability of consistently making blocks when my stake pool has enough money on it. All of you guys, as you aggregate your money together, you guys make the more money. I make a consistent amount, a steady amount. That's the difference. And people are like, no, you're making money off my back. I know you are. And that's what we need to teach them. We need to show them how it works. It's a symbiotic relationship. We help each other grow.
I think that's what it is. It's more education than it is selling. You're going in there showing them, like, here's the technology that is going to revolutionize how we interact and operate with each other. So if you want to take advantage, it's built into the protocol. But really quick, we got 5 minutes. We have 5 minutes left. So
sorry.
We didn't get through all of our agenda items, but that's okay. We don't always get through them. Ray, I saw it looked like you wanted to say something. Do you want to touch on something else or give us some final thoughts?
Yeah, just a reflection on what we've shared so far, and something for everyone to think about, right? So, especially, as what Cardano is doing, I love that initiative and that passion, going out there and making the calls, bringing people into the ecosystem, and educating them on other ways of making money. This is exactly what we need. This is the part of what this project's all about. I think there are two directions that someone can take when they're looking at blockchain and cryptocurrency. One direction is, how can I use the technology to optimize my business,
right? To
operate at lower cost, to have a higher profit margin? How is this technology going to optimize the business that I'm already running with fiat? Right? How can I make more money? How can I make more fiat? Okay, ultimately, right? That's what they're thinking about. How am I going to optimize this for my participation in traditional legacy monetary supplies? That's mission number one. That's where a lot of people are at in crypto right now. They're looking at it as, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to buy a house? How am I going to travel? How am I going to retire? That's huge thinking. There's another big group of people, who a lot of which are here in Cardano, who are thinking, one of the best ways to undo the systems that we're in that we're not happy with is to stop participating in them. And one of the best ways to stop participating in them is to stop using their money. And one of the ways to do that is to not go back to fiat. So you're going to get also another vision, another population of people. And I think this is important in how we educate now people, especially the people who are struggling with volatility, who are struggling with the store of value and its capacity to hold it at a level that makes their books look good and feel good to them. If we can at least educate those people and say, look, blockchain technology, decentralized technology like this is an opportunity to create a new world, to stop participating in this antiquated system that basically is holding us, in my opinion, as modern slaves.
Agreed.
How do we get out from underneath this and free ourselves of the system that keeps squeezing what it can out of its own people? Mm-hmm. So we're in that opportunity, but there are sacrifices, right? We're not going to go back to the exchange and sell. We're going to use what we make and what we accumulate to exchange between each other and create an entire new monetary financial system. We can do that with this technology.
Within the ecosystem that we're creating together.
Correct. And the more businesses that we employ into that system, the more ability we have to keep spending the money within the system. And that's why building out and reaching out is so important right now. It's ready. And all we have to do is start getting people to say, you know what? I can use that in my store. I can use that in my storefront. I can use this to enhance how we do taxes for these companies.
It sells itself.
It sells itself when they understand how
they understand
works.
it.
Right.
Exactly.
And one thing I'm trying to really push is it's not about buying low. It's about entering. Because over enough time, you'll find out that wherever you buy, it will be a low point at some point, because the only direction crypto is going is up. We have $2 trillion
100%.
In a world market, and now we're slowly trickling in the rest of the 398 trillion. So what direction are we going, guys? We're going way, way up. And so,
let's put it in perspective real quick.
Let's put things in long-term perspective. And so if you can relay that and they can understand that, it doesn't matter when it goes up and down. Say, hey, when it goes down, you need to recognize in your head, I didn't lose money. I just gained an opportunity to buy more real money, real uncontrolled money. And so these are some of the things I'm really trying to stress. And like I said, that first meeting went very well. He was a good friend of mine, so he was more open to hear, but it was a really great practice, and he was on board by the time I left. So you guys, I don't know.
That's really encouraging to hear.
Yeah, I don't know if I need to get a couple guys together to actually create some data sheets, because I mean, I had these made. I had like things like this made to drop off at offices. So, and I have a QR business card. Have you guys made anything like that yet?
Mm-hmm.
You guys get
I haven't been doing like the boots on the ground kind of stuff like you've been doing, but I've been thinking about it, but not in a different way than you have. But I like what you're doing. I really do.
Definitely get the QR business card. There's one called Hi, and it's the coolest thing. When I show people my business card, they're like, whoa, you're high tech. So my business card is just a little QR, and it's on, oh shoot, my green screen's messing it up, sorry. But yeah, it's right there. And so when people scan that, they get all of my business information, website, stake pool information, everything. This is high tech to them. And so they're like, you're at a next level when you're coming in with stuff like that. It's simple, right?
Good advice right there.
Yeah. But this is next level stuff. It shows that we're working in the high tech, high end arena. One of those silly things. Yeah. So anyway, so I would love to see if I could, I'm not an educator by nature. I do love to educate, but I really would love to sit down with maybe a professional teacher and lay out a PowerPoint or something we can build and share, okay, to the community and say, go into a CPA office, you drop this bomb, you let this thing run, And this should give them the information they're looking for and the education they need to understand how this works. And we need to proliferate that.
I think you're right. I think there probably are a lot of professionals that are scared about venturing into the crypto space just because they really don't know where to begin, and it's that gray area. And
right.
When you're a tax professional, I mean, you have to go by black and white, right? You don't live in the gray. Right. So getting them on board with education like this, I think is really smart.
It's huge. So if anybody knows of any teachers that want to meet with me on a Zoom, I would love to start jotting everything down, creating bullet point slides. And I seriously, when I do it, I'll do it in a generic way where you can put in your stake pool information, where you can put in your data. Like I said, guys, I'm all about decentralization. When I hit max saturation, I will not build another pool. I will be passing it to you guys. So I want to make things that are templates that the community can use. And so I need to sit down with some people that are good, organized educators so I can make something visually stimulating to the point that really kind of motivates them. Because right now I'm kind of stuck. I just don't know where to start with that. I'm just like writing everything down.
We're actually over time. But, have you thought about making a catalyst proposal? I think that'd probably be a good catalyst proposal.
Okay.
I'm sure you could find some people that would definitely jump on board with like your mission and vision.
I'll tell you what, I will submit a proposal today. I did submit one in 4. It wasn't as refined as what I'm doing now because I've actually been out there and I've met, so I kind of have a better idea. But yeah, I could definitely submit a proposal and maybe get a team of guys to work on some universally usable education for small businesses and CPA offices. And
hey, John, do you know the exact day that Fund 6 is going to be open for submitting proposals, or did they announce that yet?
Is July 26th?
I think so. Middle of August, I think. I'm not sure the date.
Yeah, August 12th.
I've got the 12th in my mind.
So August 12th, like that's when the insight sharing starts. And then, so really August 12th is when we're looking at the challenge settings and you're proposing your ideas for your proposal, proposing your proposal. and then you get buy-in and you talk about how does it fit into this challenge setting. And then you can kind of shape your proposal with the community of advisors. And then once you do submit it as the official proposal, then it's already been primed and
right.
It's going to fit in that challenge setting.
Right. And guys, I want something big. I want something for everybody. And the way I see it, this is urgent because all I'm seeing is big companies coming in, making multiple pools, and the people that are successful, instead of pushing their funds to other pools to support decentralization, unfortunately, we're just seeing them obviously build more stake pools. And we just have to be a force against that. And the only way we can be a force against that is by helping everybody and making everybody successful. And I know that kind of sounds weird because your success takes away from me, but in actuality, that's untrue in this world. All of our success strengthens all of us. And so that's also another education we need to get around to everybody else.
It's the abundance mindset, because the abundance, we do live in an abundant nature.
Right.
Scarcity mindset is how much of this can I hold for myself and hoard it and keep it not flowing with the rest of the energy around it. It's it's trapping the energy, keeping it to itself. And what does that do? It's like cutting a rose in a garden. It's beautiful. I like it, but you know what? It's going to die now because you cut it off.
Exactly. We need to keep the flow of energy going. And just like the rose thing, we've got to keep that money moving in and out and around. That's how networks work. That's how economies work. And so by consolidating it like it's going, it's not good for Cardano, guys. My biggest worry about Cardano is the way that the decentralization is forming, because if it keeps going this way, Cardano won't survive in its existing form. It'll be something different. It'll be like a group of people that rule.
We were talking about that a little bit before you came on, and I know I keep saying we're over time. We actually are.
Sorry, guys.
I'm going to say one more thing, and then we're going to wrap it up. Because we do have the town hall to get to. Yeah. I just forgot what I was going to say. Let's wrap it up.
It's for next time. We'll save it for next time. Sorry.
We'll save it for next time. But I know what I was going to say. But I'm going to save it for next time. We hit on a lot of powerful topics today. I think there's still more to talk about, obviously, and I think we can dive a little deeper and I really love exploring these opportunities that are coming, and thinking about how the landscape is changing and how we can shape it. I mean, that's our power as humans. We get to shape our reality around us by our actions. So with that being said, thank you everyone that joined us. Thank you, John, James, Andrew, Ray. It's been
Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys.
All right,
Thanks,
man.
Ron. Thanks, Ray. See you soon.
Okay, guys.
all right. See you guys.
Later. Hey, Ron, can you stick around for a sec?
For sure.
Yeah. Man, I've been in and out with doctor's appointments and all this other stuff. So I'm sorry, you texted me about something you wanted to work on. And I said yes. But